This is W2FJ8 bringing up the STNY digital voicemail on Grandmaster Talker 31367, Wires X room 83721, and on Zoom. The primary purpose of the STNY digital voicemail is to help foster an active digital voice community in the southern tier of New York and to provide a forum for those interested or have questions regarding various digital voice topics. While this net is primarily for the southern tier, all stations are more than welcome to check in. This net meets weekly on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Again, the call is Whiskey 2 Foxtrot Juliet Hotel, and the name here is Frank. We will first take a standby for any station with emergency or priority traffic. Please call now. Okay, nothing heard there. If there is any emergency or priority traffic during this net, please give your call sign followed by the word break spoken 2 times. Please leave a 4 to 5 second pause between transmissions for breaking patients or for those who wish to disconnect the talkers. This is a directing net, and the format will follow announcements, questions, and comments. This net utilizes NetLogger, which can be found at netlogger.org. NetLogger is not required, and we will take additional voice tokens. For more information about this net or join the Zoom meeting, please visit stnyvmr.net. That's Sierra Tango November Yankee Delta Mike Romeo.net. You can also find us at 73.net. That's Sierra Echo Victor Echo November numeric 3.net. This net will prioritize in and out mobile, short time, and emergency power stations, followed by network checking, followed by voice checking. We currently do not have any stations checking network. So let's take a quick standby for any in and out or short time stations. Please call now. Station 9 ATK for a comment. Station 9 ATK, Brian, thanks for joining this evening. Let me take a quick standby for all stations that would like to join this evening before I get to your comment. Please call out. That's okay, sorry, I don't know if there's a glitch on my end or possibly on John ends there, but I did see AI6 IG show up there for just a brief second, literally zero point 0.8 seconds. So part of your transition, I think, got cut off there, John, but I do have you checked in. So, are there not any other stations that would like to join this evening? Please call now. 2FGH. This is W2CQS. This is 2 Charlie Quebec. Okay. Okay, we also will network also recognize W2 with CQX Dan from the Lancaster. I think you mentioned earlier. I think you're out in Washington right now. So okay, let me circle back to KT9 HK. Brian, you had a quick comment before we started the net there, so take it away. This is KT9 HK. Thank you, Frank. I just want to make a note that the net logger is showing up under W2FTH testing as opposed to Southern Tier New York, like it normally does, which is maybe why some folks aren't logging in. This is KC9HEK turning it over to Net Control. Oh, thank you for that comment there, Brian. Yeah, I was doing some testing after the net the other week, and I must have started the net and still have that dash testing in there. And I'm not sure if I can change the net name um, while it's in progress without stopping it and coming back in. So uh, I think. I think we might just go with it this evening. So if anybody is listening, the W2FJH Southern Tier New York Digital Voice dash testing net logger, that is the correct one. I will correct that, especially for next week there. So thank you for the comment there. So. All right, let's kick things off. And if there's any announcements for this evening, please call now. Okay, nothing heard there. If there's any questions for the net this evening, please call now. All right, I haven't heard there either. Then we will kick things off with Brian as the top of my list there. So, Brian, I did pull down a drop down menu, and I did see we have the STNY digital voice net now selected. I'm not sure if that actually changed it in NetLogger or not, or if it's still coming up as the W2FJH one. But hopefully it's correct. But either way, we will go to your comments. So, KC9HK is W2FJH. This case in HEK. Well, thanks, Frank. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out to you. I know your call sign the regulars do, but if there's anybody else just sort of logging into that log, or they might not see the net, that's the reason I pointed out. This is fine working the way it is. So far, it's been a good week. We've got quite a windstorm going on here in upstate New York, about 60 miles from Buffalo. Winds gusting at about 45, 50 miles an hour, and see a couple tree limbs down, nothing big in the neighborhood. So I'll turn it back to Net Control. This is KC9HEK. Oh, very good there, Brian. Yeah, we got a nice storm here ourselves, and luckily, at least in the illegal area, it started to clip us there, but just started going north right before it was about to hit us, and so we got the very tail end of it. But yeah, it was exceptionally windy even for just clipping the end of it there. So I'm gonna send it back to you there, Brian, just for an additional comment. I forgot to mention the net topic this evening. So, the net topic this evening, I thought of every band has its own characteristics. And if you could only use VHF, UHF plus one other band for the next year, what band would you choose and why? So I'll hand it back over to you there, Brian, if you wanted to comment on the next topic for this evening. This is KC9HEK. Well, thanks, Frank. I probably should have checked to see what the topic was ahead of time. My bad. Well, off the top of my head, I would probably have to say 40 meters. And my thinking is that 40 meters starts opening up in the afternoon, it goes up into the evening, and that sort of fits my lifestyle. I do most of my HF work in the evening, and usually by this time of night, 20 meters is starting to wind down and 40 meters is still going strong. So I would probably have to go with 40 meters. I'll turn it over to John, AI6IG. This is KC9HEK.
Yeah, this is AI6IG, John, out in Ridgecrest, California. And I can appreciate your windstorms. We get about two a week here. Right now, we're running about 30, 35 miles an hour with 50-mile-an-hour gusts, which is pretty typical for the North Mojave Desert. As far as the one other band, I'd have to say 40 meters because I'm usually on in the daytime, but I do like 20 meters also. Um, not much going on here. I've been doing yard work all week. We've had a lot of rain, and in this area, very few people grow grass because it's an expensive thing to do. So my yard is full, but you wouldn't believe, of weeds, which I rarely get. Back to the net.
Very good there, John. And thanks, John and Brian there for. So this question is also coming from the non-general. So I was looking up giving my general. So it's also interesting to see what people would pick as one of their most favorite bands there, I guess. They could only use one. So it's good information though. It seems like we're on a trend of 40 meters there. So. All right, next on my list is W2 with CQ West. Yeah, how was your week there? W2 FDH, W2 CQX. Well, busy, I guess is probably the best word to describe it. And operating portable three here in just outside of Washington, D.C., an area called National Harbor. It's just south. It's across the Potomac from the capital area. And so, earlier, I think when we talked there a couple 3 hours ago, it was a perfect day. It was 72, bright sunshine, very little wind, and just before the net started here in the hotel room, I could just hear it banging outside. We got some light rain and strong winds, and it just deteriorated like no one's business. It is. So it's kind of ugly outside right now. So probably got to order some food here pretty soon, and I have my dinner inside my room. It's pretty scary outside. As far as the net topic goes, boy, that's a tough one. I mean, there's so many good ones, and so many, and depending on the time of day and so like that. I think I would toss it between 2 meters and 70 centimeters, and the other would probably be 20 meters, only because the antenna length is a little bit shorter, and I think I get out on it a little bit easier, and the X is a little better during the day. So those would be my two choices. Probably if I had to take two, probably 440 and 20 meters. So with that, very good. Good to hear everyone in here tonight, and wishing you the best from our nation's capital. Back to net. Someday I'm going to remember your call. W2FJH, W2CQX. Hey, very good there, Dan. And sorry, I must have jinxed you there with the high winds since we talked there. But yeah, the net top, the question was, you could actually use VHF and UHF plus one of my band. I figured most people, if they only had one specific band, they might take VHF or UHF. But just as a non general ham, I was interested in what people really use as a gift. What their favorite bands are. So I could read about it in books, but actually hearing it from other hands of what they prefer and which ones they like, I mean, that's more valuable. So. All right, this is W2FJH with the STNY digital voicemail. And let's see if there's any other stations that would like to join this evening. Please call now. Okay, nothing heard there, so we will make this final call here for any stations that would like to join the STNY digital business, or any stations that have checked in with any additional comments, questions, or concerns. Otherwise, it may look like it might be kind of a short net this evening. And it's kind of expected with some of the warmer weather out there. Yeah, it's windy, windy right now, but at least it's still in the 70s today, and cool down to maybe about 50s while I'm outside weather station, but has dropped some. But I kind of expect a shorter net during the summer months. So let's see if anybody else wants to join us, or again, if any stations that have checked in with any last minute comments, questions, or concerns, please call now. All right, with nothing heard, then we will wrap things up there. So I'd like to thank Brian, John, and Dan for joining in this evening, and we will close the net and return this talk back to normal amateur radio use. Everybody have a safe and great week there. This is W2FJH, and I'll be listening. Oh, you betcha. W2CQ, go ahead. Okay, you still there? Thanks for coming back to me again. I just, you don't live too far from me. You're in Lancaster. I'm out in Perry on Silver Lake. And I was just curious if you're active with the Lancaster Amateur Radio Association. Just curious. I've been hearing good things about that club, and trying to decide if it's something I want to get active in. Back to you. This is KC9 HEK. I'm Brian, KC9 HEK, WCC, concerning, and I am not a member. I've talked to many hams that are members, and I hear great things about the club. I'm not a member. The only reason is I travel quite a bit, and I don't really have a lot of time to play in the club, and it's a little unfair to be part of the club and not being able to give something back. So that's the only reason I'm not a member. But I hear good things about it as well. I know they're very active. All hands, nice club set up. Actually, not too far from my house, probably about 3 or 4 miles from my house. We got an HF station there and a bunch of computers that are connected to it. So I've been on W2, so I think it's the call sign of the V and the U that they're on as well. So good group. I'm not a member, right? This case, and I say, well, I appreciate those comments, Dan. I sort of feel the same way as you do. I don't want to belong to a club and just take from the club. I want to be able to get something back. But we're from where I live. Coming in on Route 28, and we're probably talking 50 minutes to an hour, and it's just it's a little bit of a time commitment. So I just don't know if I want to get too active in that. Fortunately, I'm retired, so I don't travel like you do. I used to do an awful lot of travel when I worked and lived in Milwaukee. I was all over the country. I'd be gone 2-3 months out of the year, and etc. But that was it. I really appreciate your comments, and it's good to hear you on the net here tonight. This is KC9 HEK. Yeah, very good, Brian. Well, I'll tell you, DMR and hotspots and PCs and handhelds have made ham radio a whole lot easier when you travel. Because life was just not that interesting as far as ham radio goes on the road. But it's a great thing that's happened, and I've been in DMR now since COVID is when I kind of started investing in stuff. So it's just loads of fun. So with that, I'll have on my 73, and I forgot also, John, if you're still listening, hello to the pride of the Mojave Desert there. Good to hear you in there. Brian, good talking to you also. KC9, HEK, 73, 132 secure. This is KC9, HEK, 73 secure, Dan. Hope I hear you on the net again soon, or maybe we'll all connect sometime during the week. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Hotel Echo Kilo, and I'll be clear.
E3 Dan from AI6IG, John. Good to hear you guys and talk to you all later.
Hey, John. Hello from East Coast to the West Coast, and good to hear you in there, too. Good talking to you. Now, I'm going to duck out of here and get me some dinner, you guys. So, 73 all around. Good talking to all of you. Good to hear you all in there. 73. This is W2CQ. Nobody got clear on the file. AI6IG. This is KC9 HEK.
Yeah, KC9 HEK. I'm still listening. Just had the radio here while I'm kind of recovering from doing yard work all day. I'm not used to that. And I don't know if you're familiar with the hula hoe, but that's the only way you can dig the weeds up around here. Man, it's a lot of work. And I haven't even scratched the surface. The I6IG.
This is KC9 HEK. No, actually, I have to admit, I'm not too familiar with your area of the country. I was curious, are you originally from Western New York? I'm just curious what attracted you to the southern tier. Yeah, I was just curious. This is KC9 HEK. Back to you.
Usually from born in Niagara Falls, raised in Buffalo, grade school. My parents and the family, obviously. We moved to Elmira when I was going into 7th grade. And I now own a home up in Willard, New York. And I moved out here to work for the Navy. I just retired. And I'm going to be moving back soon. And when I saw the Southern Tier talk group, I thought, that'd be a good one to get reacquainted with what's going on up there. AI6IG, back to you.
This KC9 HEK. Well, thanks. And I just pulled up your QRZ website. I just see you mentioned that you're from upstate New York, so that's great. I grew up in Clarence, which you probably know. You're not too far from Niagara Falls, but used to live up in the North Tonawanda area. And when our daughters were young, we used to spend a lot of time up at the falls. We used to love going for bike rides up there and things like that. But they're all adults now. I don't think they remember riding bikes anymore or whatever. Well, pleasure talking to you, and I hope to talk to you next week, Saturday on the net. This is KC9 HEK, and I'll turn it back to you.
I'm familiar with Clarence. I used to do a lot of work up in that area, and like I said, I was born in Niagara Falls, but spent most of my early years well, let's see, I lived on Niagara Falls Boulevard for a while, up to about 1st grade, and then spent the rest of the time in that area in Kenmore, New York. I lived on Hazeltine Ave, right off of Kenmore Ave. Lived there until not 1960, well, going into 1965. So, yeah, I know the area well. I worked for a machine tool company called Harding out of Elmira for a while. And I used to travel to Clarence area quite a bit, all over Buffalo, to all the machine shops that used to exist in that area. And I don't know how many do anymore. Moog was one I used to go to, and a few others. Alpha 86 in Eagle.
Well, it's unfortunate that so many of those businesses in Western New York are not around anymore. You know, the economy has shifted here so much over the last, what, 25, 30 years, maybe longer than that. I was surprised when I moved from Buffalo to Milwaukee how similar the cities were. And the Milwaukee economy always seems like it held up better than the Boston economy. I really don't have a good reason for that. I'm not an economist or anything like that, but it always seems to be much more vibrant than Buffalo, and yet the demographics are same. You know, both on Great Lakes, both with the backgrounds and machinery and manufacturing, whatever. But unfortunately, things change and move on. But the Buffalo Water, I don't know how long it's been since you've been here. They've really done a really nice job developing it. They're becoming quite a good place to go in the summer. So back to you. This is KC9 HEK.
I love upstate New York. I moved out here in 2010 to go to work for the Navy. There's a Nav Air Base out here. It's a research and development facility called China Lake. And it's in the middle of nowhere in the Mojave Desert, about 40 miles due west of the middle of Death Valley, about 2.5 to 3 hours north of Los Angeles, on the east side of the Sierra Mountains. The mountains are beautiful, the area is beautiful, but the desert gets really old. It's too hot here in the summertime, and little rain, little snow, except for this year we've got a ton of rain and quite a bit of snow, more than I'm used to seeing around here. But I much prefer upstate New York. And when it comes to business, yeah, Elmira got hit real hard. We used to have quite a few businesses there, factories, and they're just about all gone now. It's unfortunate. But I'm looking forward to getting back. I'm trying to get the house ready to sell, and I'll be heading back hopefully this year sometime. So back to you. Alpha 86 and you go.
This is KC9HEK. Well, that's good. I hope you have a successful time trying to find a place. If you're sort of targeted in the area of the state that you want to be, I'm given Elmira, Buffalo, Niagara Falls, Kenmore. Sounds like you're leaning towards Western New York. Just to be a little bit more specific today, if you're familiar with Letchworth State Park, we're about 4 miles from the entrance to Letchworth. And being a senior citizen, we get free admission, and my wife and I spend an awful lot of time over in Letchworth every summer. It's one of the most beautiful places I think in the state, if not the country. So I'll put a little plug in for Wyoming County. Back to you. This is KC9HEK.
Actually still have a place back in the Ovid, New York area, which I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's kind of a crossroads between Seneca Falls, Geneva, Ithaca, and Watkins Glen. It's right, the two main routes that run up that side of Seneca Lake, the east side of Seneca Lake, are 96 and 14A. And one runs from Watkins to Geneva. Well, actually, it runs from Watkins to Waterloo, and then the other one, 96, runs from Ithaca up to Geneva, and they cross right at Ovid. And I live I have a home about 3 miles from that area. My brother was living there for years while I was out here, and I'm really looking forward to getting back. I miss the lakes. Back to you.
Well, that's a spectacular area. I just pulled you up on Google Maps, and I see exactly where Ovid is, and that's what a great geographic location. Like you said, you're Ithaca, Watkins Glen, Geneva, Seneca Falls, all beautiful places. We also like Ithaca. We like Watkins Glen. We get there a couple times during the summer. Going out just a little bit further east, we really enjoy the town of Skaneateles. So, well, I hope you make it back to Ovid. I think you'll find it to be just great compared to the desert, because that's just a spectacular area out in the Finger Lakes. Back here, that's KC9 HEK.
I try to get back there every summer. I was back there last summer, doing some work on the house, getting ready for this year, hopefully. And I spent every morning, I'd be up by 6:30 in the morning, and the first thing I'd do is walk down to the Seneca Lake. And actually, my home is in a little town called Willard, New York, which is about 2 miles from Olden. It's the site of the old Willard Hospital, which was turned into a Dick Van Dyke Rehab Center for a few years, and then after that, it became a very specialized state prison. And now that's closed, so now it's just big empty buildings all over the place. But I could walk down to the lake in about 5 minutes, and I would take this trail down to the bottom of the lake that would bring me into the Sampson State Park. And I walked it every morning. I loved it. It was absolutely beautiful. Just to see all the wildlife, which the only thing we have out here are snakes and coyotes and black widow spiders. So I'm really looking forward to getting out of here and getting back there. I'll finish the 6. There you go.
This KC9 HEK. Well, I'm very familiar with Sampson State Park. We camped there a number of times. Oh, not in a few years now. We'll get a little bit past the camping, but maybe we'll do it some this summer. But Sampson State Park is a beautiful park. Absolutely love it. Well, listen, I'm going to run and watch a little basketball. It was a pleasure chatting with you, and hope we stay in contact other than that. And I'll look for your call sign during the week. This is KC9 HEK saying 73s, and I'll turn it back to you for your final.
Enjoy the game, 7-3, and I'm about to head back out to the yard and do some more work. So we'll talk to you later. I'll be in the 6 and you guys.
KC9 HEK, I'll be clear.
Hey, John, yeah, 690 W26UX. You got an extra minute? Yeah, sure, if you're in there too. I'm not at the best internet place on the planet here, so if you have a minute, I'd like to ask you a question. Now we can continue it some other time. No big deal. AI6, yeah, W26UX.
Right. I may have replied too quickly and not giving the hotspot a chance to reset. But yeah, I'm here for another minute. Go ahead.
Hey, John, give me a second. I'm going to go private with you. Let me stop this number.